there are costs associated with building versus buying. And these costs are often not necessarily as obvious as the costs that you get when you sign up for a subscription. All right, so I want to talk about build versus buy today. So a lot of people have been exploring using AI to build their own tools and their own software stacks, and they're super excited about the possibilities. And this is awesome. I'm super excited about the possibilities of using AI to build software. And as I've been talking with people, a lot of people don't realize that there are costs associated with building versus buying. And these costs are often not necessarily as obvious as the costs that you get when you sign up for a subscription. Now, the reality is, signing up for a subscription has been around for a lot of years because companies actually provide value in the software. It's not just the software that's there, it's the support and the maintenance and the bug fixes and all of the things that go into keeping the software running and working as you use it. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of build versus buy. And so when I'm talking about build versus buy, in a lot of cases, unless there's a really clear reason why, if you're going to save $20 a month by replacing a particular tool, it's likely not worth it because you're taking on the maintenance of that software. So let's use, for example, a simple CRM. Basically, you want to have contacts, you want to have deals that you're tracking because you're trying to watch these deals through, and you want to be able to kind of forecast what are we going to close next month, right? And so you start out by saying, okay, this is really simple. I've got people in companies. And so you create a people's record and a company's record, and you've got these two things and you're building them out, and you're like, okay, relationships are here. And then you start talking about, okay, I want to add meetings. I'm having meetings with these people. I want to add notes. Here's the next thing I need to do. Oh, now I'm sending emails. How can I get my emails to log into this system? Oh, okay, here's a way I could do this. Oh, okay, I want to insert feature. It continues to grow and grow and grow. Now that's okay if you're okay with managing and maintaining that software. But in most cases, as you're using AI, you are building out software that has a couple things built into it. One is dependencies, and it uses these scripts that other people have built to be able to make building your software easier. So when you log in and maybe you use resend to trigger an email to say, here's your code, log in, right? Now you've got a dependency on resend's platform. And there's also dependencies underneath that you don't even see. So when you click and drag something, there's some software back then that's allowing you to drag and drop. When you it refreshes the page automatically, there's dependencies. And so lots of packages have thousands and thousands of dependencies underlying them. And so that's something to realize as you're doing this, right? It's not just a simple list of code. That code is calling other code. And where these dependencies get painful is, let's say that resend, who's sending your emails for you, changes the way in which they accept data coming in. So now instead of passing one key, you have to pass a different key. Well, usually when software companies make these types of changes, they make them backwards compatible, at least for a period of time. But at some point, you will need to upgrade your code to take that new method that they've built. And this is great, but now you've got to take time away from building whatever you're building or selling or whatever to adjust that. Additionally, all these underlying pieces, if you upgrade certain things, it could break the interconnection between these, and now you've got to go back and fix the code that's underlying. And so sometimes these dependencies can force upgrades. You've got potential like security risks and things like that that can open up inside the dependencies underneath, and this can open up. So all of this to say, if you're replacing $20 software, there's a few things you need to think about. One, how important is this thing that I'm building to my business? If this thing is running your business, for instance, if you are selling stuff online and you have a Shopify store, it's probably not worth replacing Shopify unless you're only selling one or two products and you're going to tie in with a provider like a Stripe. Like, these companies exist because they make it easy to do certain things. To take someone's money online used to be really difficult. You had to go to the bank, get a merchant account. You had there was all of this stuff you would have to write to do that. And now you can literally sign up for Stripe and they give you the code and it just drops in. And it's even easier now with AI because they're like, oh, click here and sign up and do this. And it's all connected and it's all great. And like it makes that easier. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that Shopify is doing for you. Like, oh, your store just went down. You can't sell anything until your store comes back. Guess what? You're now having to fix that, right? So there are some things that I would say don't touch, right? I don't know that I would ever want to run my own email server. I think there's hosted solutions. Hey, for them to send your emails, they'll take care of a lot of stuff. There's so many little things when someone receives an email that if it's in Outlook or if it's in Gmail, they look different and you've got to go through and test and do all this stuff. Those providers do all that work for you and it makes it easier for you to do that, right? So when you think about all of these things, one, how important is it in the business that you are currently doing that this stays working? Because if you build something that's integral to your business and then it breaks, now you've got to fix it. So then the second question is, how hard is it to manually work around if it's broken? So if I build something to optimize my implementation flow, so someone signs up with me and they say, here's my product, here's what I want to build. We build this whole thing. There's a back and forth plan. There's a whole set of things that need to get done. And I can optimize and automate this process. If I do that, and then that piece breaks, how hard is it for me to say, okay, where are we at in this step? Let me send the next email manually and keep things going that way, right? You've got to understand what's the fallback if that automation stops working or the software doesn't continue to work. The other thing to recognize is that if you're depending on other things like sending emails and other software providers, maybe you've got Versal hosting or Convex or different tools that you're building on, those could use up the resources that you have and you start paying. So something looks like it's a free tool, but it's a free up until a certain point, send so many emails or whatever it might be. You may incur costs down the road. You've also got potential costs with AI and as you integrate with different things. And none of these are fixed. They're based on the usage of the thing that you're doing. And so you got to be aware of what's coming with what you're bringing in here. And then the last thing is, how hard is it to fix? So if you build it one way using AI, you're going to need to use that same AI platform to fix it most likely. And it's not just about like, oh, I've got this idea, boom, here's this thing. Like you can just say, make this for me. And that's their whole thing. Give us a prompt and we'll make the whole software for you. But as you start to add in additional features, what tends to happen is you then bolt on these extra things. And at some point you need to step back and say, okay, rewrite all this code so that it works as a single unit. And I've seen this happen inside businesses where, oh, we're going to add this software. And then you say, oh, this is really expensive. Let's go to an all-in-one solution. And you go to an all-in-one solution. And then somebody says, hey, this thing can't do what I want. And so they build this or they buy this and they bolt on more. And it's a cycle. We get more tools that are best in breed for that one little thing we want to do. And then eventually we say, okay, this is too much. Let's go to a single platform. And it's a back and forth flow. And it'll be interesting to watch as AI continues to gain footing in the world and people are using it to build more software, is what are the pieces, the building blocks that work, right? So anyway, I just wanted to share those thoughts with you. Build versus buy. It's really cool. It's really fun to build something and to recognize how that works, but understand what you're taking on when you build that out, because you will have costs of managing and maintaining that. So anyway, thanks for hanging out. And hopefully this is at least helpful as you're thinking through. If you want to chat through an idea you've got or some software that you're trying to build or a problem in your business that you want to try to solve with technology,